My name is Emily, a woman of 30 years, bound in matrimony to Luke, a man 5 years my senior. Our union has spanned 3 years. Yet, I find myself at a loss for where to begin unraveling the tangled threads of my tale. Let me be clear from the outset. This is no storybook romance with a neat resolution or a joyful conclusion. It is instead a chronicle of my own making, steeped in remorse and self-inflicted wounds. Luke is the sort of man many would consider a treasure. Dependable, kind-hearted, and tirelessly dedicated. He pours his energy into his modest business, yet never fails to carve out moments for me. He recalls my preferred coffee order without prompting, stays awake to lend a hand with tasks I hadn't even noticed needed doing, and offers a quiet, unwavering love. In the beginning, I adored his straightforward sincerity, his ability to make me feel cherished and safe. But as time passed, my perception of him began to shift, tainted by comparisons that crept into my heart like unwelcome guests. It started innocently enough. I'd spend time with friends, listening to their stories of husbands who seemed more striking, more daring, more everything. At brunches, their tales painted pictures of men who scaled mountains or exuded effortless charm. I scrolled through social media, bombarded by images of flawless couples living seemingly perfect lives. Doubt took root, small at first, but growing with every conversation, every curated post. I berated myself for my ingratitude, reminding myself that love isn't about superficial traits. Yet the unease lingered, a quiet storm brewing within me. I began to question whether I was worthy of Luke's boundless affection, whether I deserved the stability he offered so freely. Then came the night that shattered everything. It was a carefree evening out with friends filled with laughter and far too many drinks. I lost count of the glasses, each one blurring my judgment further. What began as a single cocktail spiraled into a haze of intoxication, self-loathing, and annoying resentment I couldn't name. When I stumbled home, barely able to stand, Luke was there, as always, waiting to ensure I was safe. But instead of gratitude, I felt a surge of bitterness. In a moment of reckless abandon, I looked into his eyes and unleashed a torrent of cruelty. "I don't even find you attractive anymore." Those words, sharp and unfiltered, spilled out without warning, without reason. The devastation on his face was immediate, a wound I could never unmake. The morning after, I woke with a pounding headache and a sickening dread. At first, the night's events were a blur, but the sight of Luke sitting at the edge of our bed, his gaze fixed on the floor in quiet agony, told me something was terribly wrong. "Is that how you truly feel about me?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper as he echoed my venomous words. Horror washed over me as the memory surfaced. I scrambled to undo the damage, blaming the alcohol, stammering, "Luke, I was drunk. I didn't mean it." But he didn't argue or shout. He simply nodded, rose, and left the room. That quiet exit cut deeper than any words could. In the days that followed, a chasm grew between us. Luke didn't lash out or retaliate. He simply withdrew. The small gestures that once defined our love, the midday texts, the shared smiles, the unspoken care vanished. His silence was a punishment worse than anger, a constant reminder of the rift I'd created. I tried to bridge it, cooking his favorite dishes despite my lack of skill, slipping heartfelt notes into his bag, reminiscing about the early days when our love felt unbreakable. One night, I even reached for him, hoping physical closeness could mend what words had broken. But each time he met my efforts with a weary, sorrowful look and a gentle, "Not tonight, Emily. Maybe another time." Instead of facing the wreckage I'd caused, I sought escape. One Friday, overwhelmed by guilt and the oppressive quiet of our home, I went out again, telling myself it was just to clear my mind. Deep down, I was running from the truth. That's when I met him, a man whose confidence and charm stood in stark contrast to Luke's steady warmth. He slid onto the bar stool beside me, flashing a smile and saying, "Rough day, huh?" I should have left, but I didn't. I let his attention wash over me. Let it make me feel wanted, if only for a moment. And then, in a fleeting lapse of judgment, I let him kiss me. The instant our lips touched, a wave of nausea hit me. A visceral realization of my betrayal. When I turned and saw Luke in his car, watching from the street, my world stopped. He didn't approach, didn't shout, didn't react. He simply rolled up his window and drove away. The next morning, I clung to a desperate hope that we could salvage what was left. But when I found Luke in the kitchen, his voice was steady, his resolve unshakable. "You showed me last night that you don't value me or our marriage," he said. I pleaded, tears streaming, insisting it was a mistake, a meaningless moment. But he shook his head, his eyes filled with a quiet pain. "I need time to think," he said. And with that, he packed a bag and left. He never came back. 6 months have passed since that day. Luke has moved on, thriving in a new relationship with a woman who radiates joy and brings him the happiness I couldn't. I meanwhile am alone, grappling with the fallout of my actions. My friends have drifted away, unsure how to navigate my self-inflicted ruin. Even my mother, when she learned the truth, could only sigh and say, "Emily, you had a man most would kill for, and you let him go." She was right. There's no redemption arc here, no tidy resolution. I live with my regret, a weight that grows heavier with each passing day. If my story offers any lesson, it's this. Cherish what you have, because once it's gone, no amount of wishing can bring it back. Every day I'm haunted by the truth that I held everything I ever needed and I let it slip.